guys, it's Brandon.
And this is Sabrina, and welcome to the Someone Called BS podcast, where we discuss navigating marriage, entrepreneurship, and owning our own businesses while also trying to do this thing called life together. Thanks for joining us here and listening to our literal BS.
Oh, you're gonna need to edit that out.
Ugh, come on.
Or trick two. Is there a trick to make it run a lot better, but for the cheaper?
Seriously, don't say it like that.
Let's get it.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, what's up, guys?
We're back.
Better late than never. That's what I always say.
We are very sorry that we did not record again for y'all. We missed a week, but I think we had a pretty fair excuse this time. But we are back and we will not miss another episode in the near future.
In theory.
And if you are watching, Brandon is back with some new glasses, as you can see. And if you are not watching, but you are listening, you're really missing a show today.
You need to speak into the mic.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, I just, you kind of blipped out there. So just want to.
So if you're not watching, but you're listening, you're missing Brandon's show because he is wearing his ski glasses from our trip to Montana.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm a resident ski champion now. So it's only right to showcase my gear.
Yeah. So basically.
Also, shout out to Blenders for these 6-spec goggles. These would have been like $789 at the ski resort we went to if I tried to buy them there.
I wonder when you're going to get a Blender sponsorship. We should probably ask.
If they want to do a set of F-bomb glasses, I mean, they'll probably sell right off the fucking shelves.
If they would like to support the underdog, because we have about 40 consistent listeners, so we could sell to 40 people.
At least 40. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good start. So thank you for listening or watching, whichever you do. So we went on our trip to Montana, and I know that we told you guys that we might record there, but we did not have any time. I feel like that happens a lot. Like I'll take my laptop and all of my things and plan to work a little bit, and then time just slips by. So we did not have time. But if you are on our Instagram or our Facebook, we posted a lot of stories on our Airbnb so you could see it. It was beautiful and it was a magical trip, and I am obsessed with Montana. I would like to live there. So that was awesome. But I guess before we get into that trip, the reason we missed the podcast last week was because we lost our doggy Maximus.
R.I.P. Big Max.
He actually turned a corner and got pretty sick while we were gone. And we have an amazing vet, which I've mentioned, but she was able to get him meds while we were gone. And of course, Joanne, who is amazing for us, was watching him at the time. So she got him the medication that he needed, and we were hoping that would help him turn a corner again, but he ended up just getting worse and worse. And when we got back on Sunday night, he just looked terrible. So Monday, the following day on Monday, we made the decision to put him down, and that was really hard. So we took a little break for the week after that.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely sucks for anybody who has had a pet long term that actually likes their animals and takes care of them as if they are family. Maximus, we've had him since he was a little baby puppy. We picked him out when we didn't know any better about Petland, so we got him from that puppy mill place. Honestly, he lived a really great life For a Mastiff, he was pretty old. Their life expectancies are not great. Any Mastiffs, their life expectancies are not great just because they're such massive beings, and that's one of the reasons we had to make the call, because in his prime, he was a good 130-pound dog, 125, 130-pound dog, and he had whittled away down to 76 pounds.
Yeah. It was just
because of the sickness that he had. But I mean, we've known about this sickness for 2 years now. He's had it and dealt with it. We had to go on like a holistic diet where he had all his meals cooked, and we had to give him herbs and collagen and
vitamins.
This, that, and the third. It was a pretty crazy regimen we did for 2 years. But I mean, any other vet wouldn't have given him the chance. They would have just said, oh yeah, he can't eat. He doesn't absorb nutrients from food. So
yeah,
that's
and
it.
We had tried like all the pharmaceuticals you could try and nothing was helping him. And so luckily our vet explored other holistic options that actually helped him and helped us have 2 more years. So I will always be grateful to her for that. But yeah.
Yeah, he just wasn't really having a good time anymore. So at some point, as much as you love your animals and you want them to be around forever, you have to make the unselfish choice and think about their quality of life. And he just was not having a good time. Like, he was having chronic diarrhea that was just watery. Like, he was very, very weak. He couldn't shake anymore. He wouldn't, shake your hand if you told him, give me high five. Like, he just couldn't do it. He was too weak. So, as much as we wanted to try and kind of get him through one more Christmas, obviously this is not the greatest time it's never great to have to make the decision to put your pet down, but especially at this time of year, it just had to be done, unfortunately. So yeah, it was tough. It definitely was tough.
I will say though, so even when he was little, which obviously he's had this underlying disease that he was just diagnosed with 2 years ago, but he's had it his whole life, where he has problems like absorbing nutrients in his diet and he has chronic diarrhea, all of those things. So like when he was a baby, he would always have diarrhea and I would get so frustrated because we could never figure out why. Like it'd be randomly, like he would have diarrhea for a couple days and we could never figure out the source. We always took him to the vet trying to figure it out. They thought he had giardia at one point, which comes and goes apparently, but he never tested positive for it. And so we always called him little poopy boy, and we were
oh boy, did he live up to that one.
We were we were in the vet's office, like saying our goodbyes. Poor thing was very, very weak. And so whenever they give the euthanasia medicine, at first they give him like a sedative and I'm sure everyone that has gone through this kind of understands the process, but they give him a sedative to just relax him first. That way he doesn't really, feel anything. He's just going to sleep. And then they give the medication, which I'm not sure what it is, but that stops the heart. And so the poor thing, like, had explosive diarrhea to the very end. Like, it just came because you lose function of your bowels when you pass away.
Yeah. The very little bit of strength that he did have, he was holding in that poopy, and it blew out.
And it like blew out, and Brandon was sitting by his butt and I was like up by his head. And it wasn't even the fact that it's poop. It's like, I can't explain to you how badly it smells. It's not like this regular kind of poop smell. It's like his diarrhea smelled so badly.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
I cannot explain
his intestines were literally rotting from the inside out.
And
like,
so,
that's why we had to make the call. We were starting to see heavy blood in his stool.
Yeah.
So like it was just awful.
And so at the very end, you know, he passes, and obviously when he passes, he loses control of his bowels. He was holding in this giant shit, and it gets all over Brandon. We're crying. We're like sobbing in the vet's office saying our goodbyes. I'm holding his head and his paw. I'm crying. But then like this wave of this shit smell comes over, and it's just so terrible. Like it smelled so bad. We're crying and gagging at the same time, like trying to have this moment with our dog who is just shit all over Brandon. Like
Yeah,
it was
literally, he shit right on my hand.
it was like, I don't know. It was obviously we were very sad, but it was like a funny little moment where we're like gagging, like we've got to get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
his soul is no longer in his body, so I am okay leaving his body. Like I've got to go. It smelled so bad.
Yeah. The doctor came in or as the doctor was leaving, she's like, I'm gonna just leave you now, for a couple more minutes. And
we're like, no.
About 30 seconds
No.
later, we were like, I've got to go.
Yeah,
it was like 4 Christmases. I was about to just puke bad. It was really bad.
That's classic Max. He left us with a poop.
Left us with the poop. So
yeah, it was. Yeah, so that was really tough last week. So we just decided we were going to originally record that Monday when we got back. Actually, we were going to record Sunday, but then he was so sick. We just spent the night with him, and then Monday came and it was a whirlwind. So thank you for being patient with us. We are back. Say a little prayer if you believe for Maximus Brown.
Yeah. So now we have to plant a tree in his honor. So we're thinking about using his ashes in some palm trees around our pool area because he absolutely loved the pool. Like if you let him outside in the back to go potty, we finally just had to quit letting him out in the back. We were letting him go in the front yard because it was like he would just beeline to the pool and just hop in it.
And no matter how
if it was cold, didn't matter. He was getting in it. Mm-hmm. So none of our other dogs are really too interested in it. Like if we're in it, they might get in it, but he was just like, I don't care. I'm hopping in the pool. So he really loved it and enjoyed it. So I think that's what we'll do. Diesel, for those of you who don't know, we used his ashes on a magnolia tree that's in our backyard. And it's like the great magnolia. It's like one of the huge ones where they grow to be 50, 60 feet tall because that was his personality. So Max will become a palm tree or a Joshua tree or something.
Something tropical.
Some tropical poolside tree.
Yeah. But anyway, I figured we could recap our Montana trip.
Yeah.
So Montana came. We had to get up at like 2:30 a.m. to go to the airport, so that was really fun. But actually that first day was pretty cool. We flew into Bozeman. We did a little shopping, like me and the girls that went on the trip did some shopping, and the guys also like explored.
We didn't. We waited for them to shop and we sat there.
Well, the girls made it to the distillery first. We found this super cool distillery that we went to.
Right here.
It called Bozeman Spirits.
Bozeman Spirits.
Shout out if they want to sponsor us. We're looking for sponsors for our 40 listeners.
I've got their roaring cinnamon whiskey in my spiced apple cider right now.
Yes, Brandon did make us some drinks if you're watching. Spiced apple cider with some cinnamon sticks and some orange peels. And it's not like Fireball, it's like cinnamon spiced whiskey.
When I showed up, that was the first thing I asked. They had I really liked the distillery. They had like a bar in it, and it was like a little mountainside cabin type of bar. And they had like hot toddy on the menu, and I like a good hot toddy, especially there. It was cold.
It was very cold.
So
yeah,
I was like, hey, this hot toddy sounds good, but it says cinnamon whiskey, and I am just I'm not a Fireball fan. Like I went through that phase many years ago, so I'm not really into the cinnamon like
Yeah.
syrup whiskey, and he
Definitely
was like,
not like that.
no, this is not like that at all. Like, give it a chance. And it was so delicious that I bought a bottle and brought it back. So
Yeah. So we did that, and then we drove up to Big Sky, which
no, then we went to a dispensary so they could get their dope
yeah.
for the dope fiends.
So if you know Brandon, you know he's a total square and he doesn't ever do any illegal drugs, which is totally fine. I respect it. But I engage in when it's legal. Just a disclaimer, when it's legal, I engage in edibles every now and then with my friends.
Which is why we didn't shoot the podcast, because these fools were high as a kite.
Only one. We accidentally, we'll get there. But anyway, we stopped at the dispensary, and then because it's legal in Montana recreationally. And so then we drove up to Big Sky. We're like driving in the mountains. Milton. Sorry, I'm yelling at my dog because he will not stop humping my other dog. Stop. So as we were getting into Big Sky, like driving to our Airbnb, it started snowing. So, and we're all from Texas, so we were like praying for the snow. We wanted snow so bad.
It was like a light dusting as we drove.
Yeah, so it was so beautiful. And then we get up to our Airbnb. It's barely snowing up there. It really honestly started snowing like as soon as we got to the Airbnb and got out of the car. So we posted a few videos of us like right away. If you saw those on our stories, but the Airbnb was beautiful. It was like up in the mountains in this crazy neighborhood with like $12 million
Spanish Peaks
homes. Yeah, it's called Spanish Peaks in Big Sky, Montana. They have homes for sale if anyone's looking.
Yeah, there was one right down the street. It happened to be open, had a contractor's door in it, so I went to go take a look around and peruse.
Wow.
Little $12.5 million house.
It was beautiful.
So,
that is my dream. That's for sure my dream. So, yeah.
So if you want to sponsor us, Spanish Peaks,
we got 40 listeners, guys. We can podcast from Montana.
Yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, so the first day we kind of just settled in. The next day was Thanksgiving.
We went to the store. We saw a whole elk herd, so that was pretty sick. Driving down to the store, since it was snowing, obviously temperatures were dropping, so the elk were coming down out of the mountains. So they were moving down towards like the town where the valley was, because we had to drive up into the mountains for this neighborhood.
Yeah. It was like 8,000 feet or something. That was the elevation point where we were.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. We were driving. I was like, why the hell is everybody stopped? Like, it's barely snowing, but they were actually stopped to look at all the elk. So yeah, it was like a herd of, I don't know, had to be 40, 50 elk. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So the next day was Thanksgiving. We had decided on, I don't remember if we told you guys before we left, but we were going to originally cook. The girls were going to cook all day. But then we decided, like, we are on vacation. We need to relax. Us girls need to be able to relax just like the guys. And so we decided to get Thanksgiving catered by a real chef. It was a personal chef. His name was Chef Greg. I forget his company, so I'm sorry. I can't shout you out. But we did that. So Chef Greg came and dropped off all of our food. And so on Thanksgiving Day, we were able to kind of just hang out. We made breakfast. The girls got in the hot tub while the guys went off exploring the neighborhood in the morning. And while we were in the hot tub, we took one of the edibles, which was like 10 milligrams of THC, if y'all are familiar with that. So it's not that much.
If you're familiar with dope.
Yeah. So we were like, oh, and apparently these, I've never seen this in my life, but these were fast acting edibles. So that means like they kick in faster than your normal edible, which can take like an hour to kick in. So he was like, the guy at the store was like, oh yeah, they kick in between like 20, 30 minutes. So like you should be able to tell like how much you're getting. So 20, 30 minutes go by. We're drinking mimosas too. So keep that in mind. Like we're drinking mimosas, but we don't really feel anything. Like, and we've all taken edibles before. So we kind of know.
Nope.
I'm talking about the girls.
Oh, okay.
So the guys are off at this point and we're hanging out in the hot tub. It's snowing. It's like beautiful. It was snowing on Thanksgiving while we were in the hot tub. I love it there. I want to live there in the snow. Anyway, so we decide we're going to take another one because we don't feel anything. So we take another fast acting one. And so then another like 30 minutes goes by. The guys get back from their hike. They're like asking us what we're doing. We're kind of getting tired of the hot tub by that point. But then, 20, 30 minutes go by again. We still don't really feel the edibles, but we're also drinking. So I don't really remember if I felt the edible at that point.
Oh, yeah. I mean, by the time we had gotten back, they were already gone.
No, I don't think that's true. I remember.
Oh, for sure. We
when y'all
returned
got
back and there was broken glass.
Wow.
There was a broken glass, and they're like, we broke a glass. Yes, girl,
Anyway.
slay.
Let me tell my story.
Okay. Tell it.
So then we decide we're going to take half because we also bought regular edibles that weren't like these fast acting edibles. So we got regular ones. So we each actually, I think one of us took a whole one, but I took a half of a regular edible. So now I'm up to like 25 milligrams of THC, which isn't really that much if like your tolerance is built up. But I don't do that. Like I don't smoke weed daily or by any means. I maybe do it like once or twice a year. And it's usually when I'm in a location that you can just easily buy them from like a store. And so my tolerance is really low. I don't even know why I did this because I've had terrible
I wonder. Just say no, kids.
terrible times with edibles in the past. So I took another one, half of one. So by this point, I'm up to like 25 milligrams. And then we get out of the hot tub and we go inside and we rinse off and we get in our jammies again. And by this point, I'm probably like high as fuck because I just remember it like kicking in, like it just hits you out of nowhere and like there's no stopping it. And so by this point, I don't really know what's going on. I'm very hungry.
Yeah, I can tell you what occurred at this point.
I just remember sitting in the living room eating a ridiculous amount of chips.
Every single bag of chips we had bought the night before, they just plowed through it. Didn't really matter what it was. Doritos, Cheetos, Lay's, bean dip, and then they're arguing about who ate all the Doritos, who ate all the Cheetos, and Sabrina's like, I didn't have any, as you like look at her Chester Cheetah hands are covered in the Cheeto powder.
Oh, well, yes, my hands were like covered in Cheeto dust and I was too scared. I remember being high is so much different than being drunk. Like I remember you're very aware kind of, or at least for me, like I'm aware of like the fact that I'm very inebriated. Like I remember my hands were covered in Cheeto dust. I wanted to get up and wash them, but I could not move. Like I just physically could not move. And I was too scared to move because I was scared I was going to fall. Like, and that is when I regretted the decision to take any of the edibles because I knew Brandon is so annoying. Like he'll get mad at me. Like even if it's not on like obviously I didn't mean to get that high. It was an accident.
I mean,
and so
you knew the repercussions of your actions.
And so the whole time, then I'm getting paranoid. I'm like, I'm going to ruin Thanksgiving. He's going to be pissed because I'm not going to be able to eat on Thanksgiving or, I'm not going to be hungry for dinner because I've just eaten all these chips. And he's going to be pissed because we're supposed to have this nice, family style Thanksgiving. And it's supposed to be like a certain way. And now I'm too high and I'm too fucked up to have the Thanksgiving.
Well, everybody else was high. I think everybody else.
No, Brandon. Well, one of the other Brandons wasn't.
So everybody else did some form other than me and the other Brandon. The two Brandons.
Or actually, I think he did.
Yeah, I think he did have edibles. I think everybody else had an edible or smoked a little J, a little doobie doob. I don't do that shit because I did edibles once in Colorado. I did a half a cookie.
Brandon has only ever done it once in his life, and it was when we were amateurs.
Yeah, no, I tripped balls is what happened. So I got so fucking scared that I thought the FBI was coming. I was so tripped out of my mind, I did not remember that it was legal where I was doing it. So I was positive the FBI was going to kick down my door in the hotel. They were going to haul me off. So no, it wasn't a good time. So when I don't have a good time, I don't do those things.
Yeah.
Scary movies too. Don't do scary movies. They scare me. So why would I watch them? So I had a perfectly fine time. I made Christmas cider with bourbon all day long and just
And he
rode
watched,
my buzz out.
He watched us suffer.
Yep. And I just watched the show. Enjoyed the little shit show, boys.
Yeah. So then by this point, probably when I was like the highest, and I mean, the other girls were, well, one of them probably wasn't as messed up as the other one, but she also does it a little bit more frequently than us. So we were like, me and the other girl we were very, very high. It probably lasted until like right before dinner, but I had to take a nap. I passed out.
We
on
watched
the couch.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Me and one of my other technicians that went on the trip. And yeah, the two girls took a nap on the couch, and I think the other one went and laid down and took a nap.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But we had a really good time in the hot tub. Like, I do remember the hot tub, and I remember eating the chips. And then I sobered up. Everyone was sober for dinner, so it was great. But yeah, we ate dinner. I thought the food that Chef Greg prepared was really, really delicious. I don't know. Brandon is very particular about his food on Thanksgiving. So I'm going to have to, for Christmas, we'll have like a Thanksgiving style meal. Just
thank God.
So we can kind of have the dishes that you like.
Fucking A.
The green bean casserole was just different, but I liked it. And it had mushrooms in it. It had fresh mushrooms in it. You should have loved it.
Ever use fresh cut green beans in your green bean casserole. You get the little shitty 97-cent can. Well, it's probably like $2.97 with this inflation, but you get the little shitty French's, not French's, the string bean style.
I like French style green beans.
Yeah, that. Mm-hmm. You don't use fresh green beans. Doesn't work. Secondly, you cannot have a green bean casserole without the crispy French's onions on the top.
Yeah, this one had breadcrumbs, and I'm sure it wasn't cream of mushroom soup. I think he homemade. It was obviously like chef prepared, like green bean casserole, like not out of a can.
Well, the real kicker was he was like, "Hey, I have this surprise for you guys, and I can't wait to show you." So he shows up. He delivered the food the day we got there. That way it was all there, everything was cooked. We just had to heat it up, Personally, I wanted to go out to like a little 5-star, but, I got voted out. It was just my job to pay, boy, pay. You don't have a vote. So we went ahead and we did the chef thing, whatever, because they were like, it's going to be cheaper. Ba, 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 ba. And we're going to, we need time to pop these mollies all day. Xan bars.
We did not do mollies or Xan bars.
Whatever it is that you do.
We just wanted to hang out for Thanksgiving and like hang out in our jammies and not do anything.
Nope, not me. That is not what I do on vacation. I do stuff.
No.
Anyway, he's like, all right, here's the surprise. So he pulls out of his little knapsack It's a fucking one burrito. Now, mind you, there's 6 human beings that have come on this trip. He's like, here it is. This is a green chili verde mountain burrito, brother. And we're all just kind of looking at him like, but there's 6 of us. He's like, yeah, y'all try that and you tell me what you think. So the whole
He
trip,
was very kind.
we didn't have it until the very last day. So the whole trip, we were like, man, can't wait to split that burrito into 6ths. Because, there was 6 of us human beings.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have to surprise us with anything. So,
Yeah,
at least that was a very nice thought.
it was. Yeah. Thanks,
Chef Greg.
Chef Greg.
Yes. I thought his food was very delicious. So,
I give it a 7.
I thought it was like 9 out of 10 for
I
sure.
mean, it wasn't terrible, but Sabrina makes a better green bean casserole, hands down.
And I don't even know how to cook. But I do the cans. The cans, there's no way you can fuck up the cans. It's like making
Also,
chicken
the
noodle
mac and
soup.
cheese was kind of a little bit weird. Too much mac, not enough cheese.
Okay. Well, mac and cheese is weird heated up too. Like it's better fresh. Like
Yeah.
if you eat mac and cheese leftover, it's never going to taste the same.
But the turkey was good. So the main thing, that was good.
And the stuffing was really good.
I'm not big on stuffing anyway.
Okay. Well, anyway, then the next day was the mother of all days.
The next day really pissed me off.
We went to, well, we didn't really have this plan. We actually had snowshoeing booked, but our snowshoeing got canceled, which, mind you, it was snowing from like the time we arrived up until like the time we left. So but before we arrived, I guess they had not gotten very much snow at all. And so our snowshoeing actually got canceled the day that we got there. They had called me and told me that there was not enough snow on the ground. And so we could not do the snowshoeing. So we decided to go to Big Sky Resort anyway to see what other winter activities they had. And we just decided to go skiing. And
No, that's not what happened. We got to the counter and we asked them, like, hey, what other activities do you have? And they were like, what do you mean? You can fucking ski or you can snowboard, loser. Or you can look at the snow. Like, they didn't really have anything else. So those were our options. So the girls are like, well, let's just ski. Let's just sit.
yeah.
And I'm like, but none of us have skied. Like, and then they're like, oh, well, we'll just get lessons. Well, guess what happens when you don't plan to go ski on the opening day at a ski resort? There is no fucking lessons because it's booked up by the thousands of people. This place was packed.
Well,
Packed.
So we weren't going to let that ruin our time. We were
Yeah.
like, well,
why would we take lessons to ski?
we'll just get some rental equipment and we'll go figure it out.
Yeah, we'll just spend, $250, $275 a person, and hopefully it's a grand time.
Yeah, so we went, and Brandon was pissed for half of the time that we were there because he wasn't good at skiing.
No, not only was I not good, like I was almost dying. Like I couldn't even stand up in the fucking line to go to the conveyor belt. There's like a conveyor belt
For the bunny slope.
that takes you to the little, the beginner slope or whatever, I guess. I'm like standing there and I clip into the skis and I'm like, all right. And I slowly start drifting back and I'm like, how do I stop? So like I'm fucking clinging with the pole trying to stop, and I ended up having to take the skis off and fucking walk in the Frankenstein boots back up to the conveyor belt and just put the skis on right before I got on the conveyor belt. And then it just takes you up the side of this fucking cliff.
It's not a cliff, it's a bunny slope.
And you get to the top and they're just like, yeah, just, I'm like, so now what? I tell Sabrina, so now what? And she's like, well, we just go down. We just go down it. And I'm like, what do you mean go down? I just almost fucking died and fell right there by the conveyor belt.
It was
Now, mind you, there's like little children doing this, like little 4-year-olds are like, they're just fucking hauling ass down this thing. I'm a grown man, almost 34, get up there, get off the belt, immediately fall down, wipe the fuck out. Every time you fall on a set of skis, you've got to unclip the ski and fucking get back up and reclip in.
I thought it was like the funnest time. I was having so much fun figuring it out, and Brandon's like literally getting so pissed because he's bad at it. Like, I'm like, just enjoy the experience of like not knowing how to do something.
Just
and
enjoy
try to-
falling.
I mean,
It's so fun to fall.
It wasn't that bad. It was really cool. I liked it because I've always wanted to go skiing, but we've never gone. And so I thought it was fun. And I think he was also pissed because I was better than him at first.
Yeah, at first, but it don't fucking take me long to get good. I'm only going to fall down so many times before I become a professional.
So we finally make it down like the big, so there's a bunny slope, the one with the conveyor belt. We finally make it down the bunny slope after like probably an hour.
Oh, it was an hour. 2 hours. 2.
Yeah.
Took us 2 hours to make it all the way down. 2
Yeah.
hours, and I fell 13 times.
Yeah, so we finally make it down, and then we're like, oh, we need a break from that. Like, let's take our skis off for a minute. And so then one of the other guys that we're with, who he's only ever skied, I think, once before, and he's like, I want to go on a real slope. So he takes the tram.
Well, no, what happened is we purchased the tickets. Like at the counter, we purchased the tickets for the lift because the guy was like, oh, yeah, you purchase a lift ticket. You can ride the lift as many times as you want all day long, baby. So we each purchased a lift ticket, which they're like $150 a piece.
Yeah.
So at this point, you know, between the two of us, we've got all the equipment we had to buy, and she had to buy some gloves last minute because she didn't buy the right gloves, and we've got like $1,000 invested in this fucking skiing experiment.
Mm-hmm.
So we get down to the bottom, and yeah, Matt, one of the other technicians, is like, fuck it, man, I'm gonna go hit that. I'm gonna hit up that slope right there. And we're like, oh, okay, we'll ride the little ski lift thing with you, you know, because it's a big 6-seater or whatever. We'll all ride together, and then you can get off at the top and you die. We'll ride back down to the bottom. So we get up there, and the guys are like, what the fuck are y'all doing, losers? Because we didn't have our skis on. They're like, yeah, you can't get on there without skis. So we're like, well, but the guy said you can ride it. And he's like, oh, absolutely not. Like, yeah, you can ride it, but you have to get off at the top and ski down. And we're like, okay, well, that shit ain't going to fly. So we all bail out. His ass is too proud in the moment. And he's like, fuck it, going to the top, losers. Yeah. Not realizing that this motherfucker is a monster that he went on.
Yeah, he didn't go on like the beginner slope. He went on like a mammoth size. I would say it was like their mid-level slope. Like it was.
Yeah, it
like,
was.
You have to
not
know
their
how to
worst
ski.
one, but I mean, there was still somehow, as we were standing at the bottom watching, you know, waiting for him to come down, somehow there were still little baby children doing this. Like, these motherfuckers couldn't have been 9, 10 years old.
Oh, they were younger than that. Like some of them were like 5 years old. They were just like coming down full throttle.
Yeah.
Like,
just absolutely killing the game down this slope, which pissed me off even more.
I thought it was cute.
I'm like, how is this possible? There's no way this little 5-year-old can do this. I'm thinking in my mind, like, yeah, okay, well, pull a fucking cab, pal.
Well,
let's see you do that.
So then we're like waiting down there for Matthew to get off, like down the slope, which like 45 minutes goes by and he's still not down. And we're like, oh, well.
Well, I had seen this man who should have been a spokesperson for Coors Light. He had the sickest mullet, no helmet, no goggles. He just had these glasses on. His little mustache was frozen. His snot was running out of his nose and his mustache was frozen.
Yeah.
He was in like some jeans. Fucking like he had that 90s purple and white like jacket on. Just absolute spokesperson for Coors Light. He had already went up and come down twice. And I'm like, no, something's not correct.
Well, anyway, so then we were waiting and we look to like our right and there's like this even tinier bunny slope. It's like a micro slope.
Yeah, boy.
It was so like we were oblivious to it because it was so like small that we didn't even think it was like a real slope.
Well, because it's for children, ages 7 through 14.
So we were like, oh, well, this one looks even less crazy than the bunny slope we went on. So we actually kind of learned how to ski on that slope. It was,
Yeah, they were giving the ski lessons to people who have never skied on that slope. So, although we didn't have lessons, we followed the people up there who did have lessons and just waited behind them and was like, well, let's see what the instructor tells these motherfuckers, and then we'll just imitate that.
yeah.
So that's what we did.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I feel like we did a great job learning how to ski.
Yeah, I mean, we successfully made it down several times at the end of that, even from the very top.
Yeah. Well, I made it down like one time successfully from the very top of the micro slope, but halfway, you could get off halfway or you could get off at the very top. And so I kept getting off like halfway and I could make it down like halfway without falling. So I'm proud.
Yeah. And then Matt survived. He just broke a ski like a quarter of the way down, and he had to take the lonely trip and walk down the mountain in the ski boots because he broke his ski. And yeah, he said pretty much he was scared shitless because he was like, yeah, that thing is tall as fuck. Like the tram kept going over like an edge, and I thought that was the top, and then it was like, nope, it goes up higher.
Yeah.
So
that was our day. And then the next day we ended up.
No, that wasn't our day. So after that, we went to, they had like a lighting of the Christmas trees at this luxury resort in our neighborhood, Spanish Peaks, called the Montage.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually their first annual. It was really, really cool because it was right up my alley. We walked in and they greeted you with a cocktail. They're like, here's a cocktail. Here's some venison tartare on a crude pate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was very elevated, my kind of place to be. So that was really cool. We had dinner there. It was a nice 5-star Italian meal. And I had a panko fried veal chop, and that thing was money. Absolute money.
Yeah. Why is your battery saver on your laptop? I thought you said it was charging this whole time.
Yeah, it was.
Well, anyway, Brandon's laptop sucks. We had to use his instead of mine tonight. But yeah, so that was our big day. And then the next day we did some shopping locally, and then we hit some hiking trails, which was really fun. It was super icy. We should have had different shoes on for sure, but it was a lot of fun. We had a good day hiking.
Yep.
And then we went back to the Montage that night to have more drinks before we went to dinner. And yeah, and then the next day we left. It went by really fast.
Yeah.
But luckily no delays in in the plane ride or anything.
No major delays.
No major delays. I think our first flight was delayed by like 30 minutes, but other than that, it was good.
So we're already planning to go back. There is a place in Montana called Whitefish, Montana, and they have a place there called Clydesdale's Outpost, where you can stay on a little ranch in a cabin where they have Clydesdales, and they do sleigh rides, and you can sit in the horse barn with Clydesdales. So
yeah,
looks pretty cool.
It's my jam for sure.
And it's cheaper there to buy. I was already looking at real estate for investment purposes, and I like Big Sky because, it was cool, but it's just out of my price range currently. But Kalispell and Whitefish are a little bit closer to being attainable. So
yeah,
I'd like to go up there and kind of scout, see what we can do. So we'll be going back soon enough. Don't know when, but, probably sooner rather than later, knowing the way she swipes the card for trips. So,
well, I do love Montana now, so I am looking forward to going back, maybe in the spring. But yeah, that was our trip in a very
condensed nutshell.
Thank you for being patient with us. Please give us topics of conversation. Do you want to hear more business advice tips? Do you want to hear marriage tips? Do you have questions for us?
Well, next week I'll be covering our Christmas party. So our next episode, we have our Christmas party. So
yeah, but that doesn't mean we don't need topics.
Yeah, no, we still need topics, but I'll be covering our Christmas party, and we will be talking about how important it is to show your staff appreciation.
Which I feel like we always have talked about. But yeah, we will talk about, we'll give y'all a recap of our staff Christmas party next week, but we also want more topics for you guys that y'all are interested in that we can talk about on our podcast. So whether that's marriage, business, friendship, like whatever it is, if you guys have
Edibles, THC.
Can you not do this right now? I'm
Okay.
trying to ask them for topics.
Yeah, no, I'm saying.
He is so annoying. Anyway,
annoying.
please, can you stop now?
Okay.
Please give us topics that you would like to talk about. I'm trying to make a short video. That way I can post the video clip without you interrupting me and making it a joke.
Okay, try one more time. I won't.
I can't anymore. I'm like so annoyed. You are so annoying. I literally can't. Anyway, please let us know some topics that you would like to talk about.
Yes,
Perfect.
whether it be business, friendship, relationship, marriage.
Yeah.
Shoot them to us.
Yeah, or questions that you have for us.
Or questions, yeah.
We are more than willing to be open and share all of our life. So,
yep, we always keep it 100.
Thanks for listening, and we will talk to y'all next week.
Thanks for tuning in with us. Please like, comment, and subscribe with us on YouTube, and listen to us on Spotify and wherever else you stream podcasts. Email us for topics and conversations that you'd like to hear next at info@someonecallbs.com.